Morning, good afternoon, evening to all. Welcome back to iSelf Academy and Excel Snippet YouTube channel. In our today's part, we are going to learn VBA in Excel, a child's play. This is a video number 3. In our third video, we are about to talk about controls. So how do you control an Excel coding here? I'm not sure about it, how long this explanation will go forward. If the explanation goes beyond 6 or 7 minutes time, probably for the coding part, I will add them in the next video. Probably you can catch up the part 2 of video number 3. I will consider this as a part 1 of video number, because if the data sets are going to go bigger, it's better to keep them in 2 different videos. That way it will be easier for us to handle. In our control button, we will be working on data sets like command button. So how do you use a command button? How to use if then else command? How to use loops or for next to loop, or while loop, or do until loop. These are the logic that we're going to learn when we are coming under controls here. So when I go for the next logic, that is called command button, where in the world I will use a command button? When I go for a command button, in the command button option, we will always allow, or the system allows us to run the code not by using any keyboard shortcuts. Instead, it will allow us to run by a click of a button. That click of a button is what we add it as command button. Again, we will talk about this command button in a much more detailed format when we are using inside a user form. At the moment, I'm using that in an Excel sheet. So when I come back to the command button point, we will have a logic called form control and an ActiveX control here. When I go for a form control, it will be different. When I come for ActiveX control, it will be different. I'll show you how or what are the differences that we have in these data sets. And again, I can create them by using a keyboard shortcut, but I recommend you to use a mouse here to create a command button faster, because we're going to draw a command button in our Excel sheet. So we are not going to just get output like we got in our earlier list where we inserted a module. To do this, we'll go for the developer tab here. So if you don't know how to activate a developer tab, we have the last step coming up here. You have to go to the file menu, options or Excel options menu, excuse me for that, and customize the ribbon and check the developer box as shown in your right hand side window. Once you get the command button, you can start drawing it, and when you draw it, it's going to give you the name called command button 1 by default. If you want to rename it in the caption point, you can do that. If you want to retain the button name as it is, you can maintain it whatever way that you want to maintain it in here. Again, when I go for a command button, once I create or once I draw a command button, you will see a design mode. Design mode allows you to write your code better, but when you want to run a code, your design mode cannot be active. So it has to be deactivated, or it has to be disabled so that you can run your code, or else you will be only in the design mode, so it may not allow you to run the code what you have wrote inside the command button here. That's the usage front. So once we go into the command button, once we started writing the code, we will understand it much more better than that. In our next bullet points, we are going to talk about if then else. In VBA code, where we can use an if statement is we can control the flow of the code in an if statement wisely. This will allow you to run the code on which speed of the code that you want to run. You can keep that intact, and then you can write it. This is the code sample that I mentioned here. This is the same code that I'm going to write. Again, I will add one more additional math operator here, because I just gave anything above 700, but even 700 is a pass mark for you to clear the MOS examination here. So when I write a code, I will write if results is equal to or greater than or is equal to 700, then the message box is going to pop up, me passed your MOS exam, or whatever the say I congratulate him to welcome to the world of MOS and so on and so forth. If it's not happening in here, then I'll say that maybe better like next time, or I will just give him a blunt reply called failed in the MOS exam, and then I'll close that with in the end ifs, Again, when I write the code here, I won't write the code in this particular pattern because there will be a breakage in it. My result will come in one line. After the then message will come, then the else will come, and the else message will come, and then the end if will come into place. The syntax build-up is a little different from what you are viewing at the moment here, because if you run the code like this, the system will not allow you to run the code here. It is a normal if condition or a logical test that I can say so. When the result is true, it's going to give you a positive result. If the result is the other way around, then it's going to give you a negative effect for you, or negative results called false here. So the next logic that we will see is called looping. Again, looping is a superpower in VBA, and it will allow you to perform a task over and over again until you have finished or completed that task here. It's like a robot or an automation that you run until you either stop it or you terminate it to stop it. It won't stop. When I go for the looping has three variants here. So we have for loops, while loops, and do until loops here. When I go for a loop, this is the first level loop that we call it as for next loop. I won't call that as for loop because whenever I use a for command in a VBA, I have to close that with a next command at the last. Without that, the system will shout at you saying that you didn't use the next command. So this will allow you to control the data better, because this is a perfect pick when you are having a data structure where you know the start point and an end point of a data set. So your code can talk about it more. I gave a variable here called I, and then I just say that I'm going to run this to 1 to 5, and then I'm going to call the message box as I, and then the message box pops up for me, and then this is going to go for the list here. So now I gave a message box in between, so you will get 5 message boxes as each and every time a number bypasses the loop here. So the first command goes on, then you get 1, second command goes on, you get 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then it will close and it will come out of the coding for you automatically. The second looping will be a do while loop. Again, I'll show you a do while loop differently. So this is again, the logic is it's going to go until your target is achieved. There will be 2 different looping that will come into play. When I say while loop, it is different. When I do until loop, it will be different here. So the while loop will give you the information where you can either use an equals or less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or something like that. And when I go for the next logic, the do while loop will go for one step prior to it. So the same looping will happen, but it won't go until 10, it will go less than 10. That means it will go from 1 to 9 here, or until 9 the counting will go on. So this is how we use our looping technique. This is Vinod. I'm going to sign out from our channel here because this video is almost crossed around 8 minutes here. Do like and subscribe my YouTube channel, and then please click the bell icon so that you will get all the notification immediately once I add this particular video to you. Again, I'm adding this particular video for only my members here, or those who are YouTube premium members who can view my videos in the YouTube channel. And if you can add into a membership, probably you will get more information other than this particular video alone. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Happy coding.